Hello guys and welcome back to the channel. My name is Izzy and we are going to be talking about Brentford against Tottenham, Chelsea against Liverpool, and we are probably going to try and preview a little bit of Manchester United against Wolves. So starting off, we have Chelsea against Liverpool in a battle that I want to dub the Caicedo battle, in which Chelsea came out victors in more ways than one. So by now you know that Caicedo's deal to Chelsea has been agreed in the region of £115 million. And not only that, Chelsea showed a different side of them yesterday, a side that we haven't seen for about 18 months, a little bit of cohesion, a little bit of midfield progress, and even more so, the bite and the hunger to play at Stamford Bridge. Liverpool, on the other hand, started with a midfield that looked as though they could easily be overrun. McAllister played in the sixth role, and not only was height a problem when he challenged for a lot of the balls, he did hold his own with a few good passes up to the front. However, the problem was that Chelsea, once they realized that Liverpool were dominating the midfield through slick passing and interchanges, they started to maximize their wings a little bit better. Reece James and Ben Chilwell had decent games, but the game really became telling when Enzo Fernandez took over the midfield and he bossed the game. He did a very good job of limiting most of Liverpool's midfield interplays, and after the first 25 minutes that Liverpool were generally on top, Chelsea grew into the game. They seemed to gain a lot more confidence in going forward. And after Liverpool took the lead, they could have easily feared for the worst when Salah, nicked the ball past Sanchez. He looked very confident at that point, and any Liverpool fan would have been extremely confident of a win at that point. But what Chelsea did under Pochettino is they galvanized their team in a way that I haven't seen for a while. Chelsea are the unknown quantity of this season. They finished so horribly bad last campaign with a 12th place finish that this season anything that borders success will be applauded by their team. Now, I don't think they're going to be a top six team yet because it does take time to bed in all these players. And for whatever reason, Todd Bowley seems to want to buy everything under the sun. But they did show something against Liverpool that I haven't seen for a while. And that was determination and grit. And it could just be a season opener that makes them look a lot better than they did towards the end of last season because they were appalling. Liverpool, on the other hand, need to get a number 6. I think they sold Fabinho a little too fast. And as good as McAllister and Szoboszlai will be for that midfield, they are not number 6s. McAllister is much more of the 10 that he wears behind his back, and Szoboszlai would probably slot in better as an 8. However, it does seem as though they are stacking a bunch of number 10s in that midfield, and they strongly need an enforcer. And with the news that Lavia might be thinking about going to Chelsea, as well as Caicedo, it brings to question why they hadn't targeted this position much earlier in the transfer window. And with teams such as Manchester United and Arsenal and Newcastle looking ominous, it begs the question as to why they would allow their number 6 to leave without having a ready replacement for him. Maybe they thought that by putting in a bid for Caicedo when they did, by trying to hijack the move, they would be able to body check Chelsea out of the player's signature. However, it did seem that Chelsea, just like Arsenal did with Declan Rice, had done enough groundwork on Caicedo from January onwards to bring him into the team. And Liverpool should have known better before trying to bid and outmuscle Chelsea. We saw what Chelsea did to Mudryk. We saw what Liverpool did to Manchester United to get Cody Gakpo. But Chelsea had put in a lot of legwork over the last couple of months to try and get Caicedo. As far as Liverpool, their attack still seems pretty fluid. Salah did not get his customary goal at the start of the season, and he did seem frustrated coming off. But that, to me, doesn't reflect a player who's unhappy. It maybe reflects a player who was disappointed in himself. And I wouldn't read much into him not acknowledging Jurgen Klopp on his way out. We've seen many a player do that, and I don't think Salah is the type of player to throw a huge hissy fit because he got substituted. He was probably just angry with himself. Now, as far as Tottenham and Brentford, they begin their journey without Harry Kane. And that journey is going to be very daunting. You are immediately taking away 30 plus goals away from Tottenham, and they need to find those goals somewhere. And how did they find it? They found it from a defensive header, and they found it from another defender in Emerson Royale. Tottenham are going to need to find a replacement and find a replacement quickly for Harry Kane, or else I can easily see them not finishing in the top 7 or 8. You have teams such as Aston Villa, you have teams such as Brentford themselves, and teams like Fulham who will give them a run for their money on a good day. And not only just that, the pressure that they're now going to pile onto Heung-min Son and Maddison to create and score more goals, because they will probably have to share those goals around them, is going to be immense. I do think that it was a very good outing for Tottenham. This was a game that they lost last season. They didn't allow themselves to get overrun by Brentford. They can easily do that to you. And Thomas Frank, in my opinion, is one of the best new upcoming managers. He seems to have a very good way of managing his team. And not only that, he has a very systematic, fluid way of playing. So what do I think about Tottenham's chances at this point? I think Tottenham will need a striker. They do need to add somebody else in defense. I know they got Van de Ven into the team, but they do need to add more defensive numbers. They don't have Europe to contend with, but they do need to work on their defensive side a lot more than any other area of the pitch aside from their striking role. Yves Bissouma was very good yesterday. A lot of the pundits really praised his game yesterday, and that is going to look good for him. I do think that he's going to have a new lease of life against. I think he's going to have a new lease of life under Ange Postecoglou. And if they are able to try and harness more of that midfield enforcer, Tottenham can at least make themselves a lot harder to beat than they did towards the end of last season, where after the confusion of Conte leaving and some of the very disparaging comments that he made about the team and their will and hunger to win, it's going to be important for Tottenham to try and pick themselves up, because it is going to be a very tough season for them to try and finish into the top 6 at least, because I can count at least 6 teams that I think are better and stronger than Tottenham at this point. As far as tonight's game, Manchester United take on Wolves. Now, I want to end up having a predictor series on this channel, and so I'll get this one going. I think today's game will be easy for Manchester United. I would be absolutely gobsmacked if they did not win the game by more than 2 goals. I'm going to go for a very stable 3-0 win. A couple of goals, maybe one from Fernandes, depending on who starts, Rashford or Sancho. They're going to have Mason Mount, who's likely going to play in the 8 role for them. Manchester United need to get a good start going, because over the last couple of seasons, and especially last season when they lost their first couple of games to Brighton and got hammered by Brentford, they need to get a good start. And I think Wolverhampton Wanderers are themselves in the mire with new management. They let Lopetegui go. There seems to be a lot of confusion in the team, which is pretty sad considering 3 or 4 years ago they looked like the kind of team that a Brentford or an Aston Villa right now is, with an upward mobile trajectory to the team when they had the likes of Adama Traore, Raul Jimenez, and the rest, who seemed to be bringing up the profile of Wolves. But at least much more recently, they have dropped off and they have not planned very well for this season. And with O'Neill starting off, I would hope for them that they at least avoid a thrashing, because a thrashing will put them in serious dire need of solving the questions that they have posed for themselves right now by not really digging into the transfer market and by leaving it so late to the start of the season to employ a new manager who's likely going to have a whole new system, is probably going to have a different set of players that he's going to have as his go-to. And even more so, it's going to affect the type of mentality that they walk into the season with, because Wolves are relegation candidates. No, make no mistake about that. Wolves are relegation candidates. So that's all, guys. Make sure to hit that like and the subscribe button. We're new here. We're going to keep on trying to bring as much data, statistics, and commentary to this season. So please hit that like and that subscribe button if you enjoyed this video. Share it and let everybody know I'm here. Thanks for watching. Peace.